Usually, most bank robbery stories feature an exceptionally clever thief because robbing a bank is no easy feat. It requires meticulous planning and flawless execution. But when the thief is incredibly foolish and still manages to pull off the heist, that's something truly rare. Some might say he was just lucky, but today's thief had an extraordinary stroke of luck as he successfully robbed one of China's top four banks. This story is about a thief who robbed the same bank three times, making off with over 51 million Chinese yuan. The heist took place in Handan, China, in October 2006. As nightfall approached and darkness began to settle in, the manager of the vault at the Agricultural Bank of China was still at the bank after everyone else had left for the day. He was anxious and on edge, feeling that something wasn't right. The presence of two security guards outside the bank offered him some sense of safety, but as the vault manager, he knew it was his responsibility to personally ensure everything was in order. He entered the printing room and checked the meeting room. There was no one there and no signs of trouble. Then he entered the bank's vault and inspected the cash, finding everything in its place. The bank's security system and cameras were disabled, which meant everything was going according to plan. He began counting the money in a hurry, driven by the overwhelming feeling that he was about to become very rich. After finishing the count, he packed the money into a bag and stepped out of the vault. The manager's name was Ren, and being the vault manager, the robbery was a breeze for him, but he still had to be cautious because things wouldn't end this easily. He exited the bank and reached his car when suddenly the lights flashed on him. The security guards had seen him leaving. They eyed the bag and asked if he had brought the money, to which he replied with a yes. They were in on the heist with him. It was smart to involve them in the operation, as it made everything much safer. Ren placed the bag in his car and returned to the bank, where he still had an hour left before his shift ended. He needed to reactivate the cameras and surveillance system to ensure everything looked normal. He had no intention of fleeing because it would be very difficult for anyone to notice the missing funds for quite some time. His plan wasn't to steal the money and disappear. He had something entirely different in mind. The next day at home, Ren was feeling quite at ease with the money, 200,000 yuan, about $26,000 at the time, in hand. He took the cash and left his house to buy large quantities of lottery tickets from a local vendor. Not satisfied with just that, he went to several other shops around Handan, purchasing lottery tickets in bulk. This was his plan, to use the stolen money to buy lottery tickets, win the jackpot, and then return the money to the bank before anyone noticed it was missing. Of course, this idea was incredibly foolish, because the lottery is designed to sell a large number of tickets to generate more profit than the prizes awarded, meaning the odds of winning more than what he spent on tickets were slim to none. If it were that easy, many would have tried it before. However, Ren had extraordinary luck, and despite the poor odds, he won, and his plan worked. He returned the 200,000 yuan to the vault, keeping a substantial amount for himself. Everything went smoothly and quickly, and no one noticed a thing. A year later, Ren considered pulling off another heist, but this time it would be bigger. Now Ren had to decide whether to involve his colleague at the bank in the robbery and make him part of the plan. But if he told him, he would reveal himself as a thief. It was a huge risk, but as mentioned earlier, we're dealing with a foolish thief. In the end, Ren made the decision and discussed the matter with his colleague, who agreed and joined him in the heist. In the second robbery, Ren and his friend took 33 million yuan from the bank's vault in installments with the help of the security guards. Ren and his partners decided to buy a massive amount of lottery tickets using the 33 million yuan, so much so that their homes were filled with piles of these tickets. Over the course of weeks, they bought lottery tickets in unprecedented quantities in the history of the country's lottery. But this time, things didn't go their way, and the winning ticket wasn't theirs. They lost everything. One of the employees reported to the police that he suspected there was embezzlement or theft from the vault. When the police came, Ren, as the vault manager, told them that the employee who reported the theft wasn't fully aware that many companies had taken loans from the bank officially, which explained the shortage of cash in the vault. But suspicions started to grow around them at the bank, and the pressure to return the money mounted. Desperate and unable to come up with a brilliant solution, Ren and his accomplices decided to try robbing the bank for a third time. They believed their luck would be better this time. In the third heist, they managed to take 18 million yuan, equivalent to 2.3 million. Once again, they bought lottery tickets, but this time they didn't have enough time to withdraw the money from the bank gradually and purchase the tickets slowly to avoid arousing suspicion. They were forced to buy all the tickets in a single day, and they scratched the tickets until their fingers bled. If you're wondering how they managed to buy all those lottery tickets with such a huge amount of money in just one day without raising suspicions, the reason lies in the fact that China was going through a digital transformation in all purchase transactions at that time. Cash was king, and whoever had it could do as they pleased. Everyone preferred to deal under the table to avoid paying taxes. After an exhausting day, the moment of truth finally came. After spending a total of 51 million yuan, which is about $6.7 million, they only managed to win 98,000 yuan, roughly $12,000. At this point, they realized they were in deep trouble. The only silver lining in all of this was that the city of Handan set a record for lottery ticket sales in its history, and everyone thought the marketing campaigns were excellent. On April 16th, the bank finally discovered the missing funds, and the vault managers could no longer steal any more money. The police issued an arrest warrant for Ren, and after confirmation and the spread of the news throughout China, it turned out to be the largest heist in the country's history. At that time, the young men were already on the run, far away from the city. The police managed to catch the second duo, who were workers that had helped in the theft. Ren had betrayed them by not informing them that things didn't go as planned. Meanwhile, Ren and his friend were solely focused on escaping with their lives. They had bought fake identities and vanished. This triggered a nationwide manhunt, with their photos plastered on wanted lists and rewards offered for their capture or information leading to them. Ren's friend fled to the capital, Beijing, but since he went to the most densely populated city in the world, his luck ran out, and he was caught just 2 days later. Ren, the mastermind behind the operation, was at that time heading by taxi to the coastal city of Yalongbei in the south. Of course, being on China's most wanted list and traveling 650 kilometers by taxi wasn't the smartest move. So he got out of the taxi and bought a Honda from an illegal dealer. After purchasing the car, he needed a place to stay, so he rented a luxurious apartment using his fake identity. He paid a hefty sum for the car and the apartment, but at least he had a place to settle. He hid in the apartment, hoping things would calm down, but unfortunately his peace didn't last long. Suddenly, the police stormed the apartment, knowing his exact location. He looked disheveled and out of sorts, and his picture had been plastered all over the news, making people suspicious. The police received reports not from just one person, but from 3: the car dealer who sold him the vehicle, the apartment landlord, and the taxi driver. Since these 3 helped the police capture Ren, the reward was split equally among them, totaling 200,000 yuan. Ren's first theft began with 200,000 yuan, and his story ended with a reward of the same amount. With their capture, the chase was over, and the trial began. The security guards were accused of gross negligence in protecting public funds and were sentenced to 5 years in prison. Surprisingly, Ren was not charged with embezzlement. During the trial, the prosecution demanded the harshest punishment for them. In a final attempt to reduce his sentence, Ren offered to help them improve bank security measures to prevent similar thefts in the future. However, they politely declined his offer and sentenced him to death, a sentence that was indeed carried out. The bank found itself in an extremely embarrassing position in front of the media, and 5 of its employees were fired for negligence. During the investigation, it was revealed that the bank hadn't conducted an inventory of its cash reserves for years, nor did anyone regularly review the surveillance footage. And so ended the story of the foolish thief who managed to steal 51 million right under everyone's noses. Instead of fleeing with it, he used the money to buy lottery tickets. Everything he did from the beginning was foolish, and the worst part was that he succeeded the first time, but greed ultimately led to his downfall. That was our story for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this type of story, please like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Goodbye.